Hi everyone, it's Emily here and I'm back with another Cornwall Wildlife Trust nature trail. This time I'm at the wonderful Helman Tor Nature Reserve and I'm with Andy Collins, who is the Mid-Cornwall Wildlife Trust Reserve's manager, and we're going to take a little stroll around this reserve and just see what nature we can find along the way. Okay, so Andy, can you tell me a little bit more about this reserve and what makes it so special for wildlife?
Yeah, so the Helman Tor sites are made up of a whole suite of nature reserves. So there's about 6 or 7 depending how you cut them up, but they cover an area of about 250 hectares. So it's actually our largest land-based nature reserve that we look after. And it's an important site. It's actually a SSSI, so a site of special scientific interest, and a special area of conservation. So both those designations give it legal protection, and those designations were given primarily because of the variety of habitat types that we have here. So we have areas of our heathland habitat, we've got acid grassland, we've got mire habitat and some quaking bog in there as well. We also got our wet woodland or willow car, and then you've got also some broadleaf woodland in there. So wow. real mix. So it's a real interaction between the two, and there's obviously a lot of species that those habitats support and habit. And one of the key ones that we have here is our Marsh Fritillary butterfly, and it's one of the core sites in mid-Cornwall for the Marsh Fritillary.
Wow, and we're going to take a stroll around today and see if we can find some of the caterpillars, aren't we? Because at this time of year they should be hopefully sunbathing or basking in the sun.
That's right. So they overwinter as caterpillars, and they spin this little hibernation web down at the bottom of these tussocks that you might be able to see behind me.
Yeah.
And at this time of year they start emerging, and what they'll be doing is looking for the young scabious leaves that they'll start feeding on.
Yeah.
But they're jet black caterpillars, quite spiky when you see them, so kind of punk rocky esque. But they warm themselves up in this kind of spring sunshine that we have right now.
Yeah.
To give them the energy to go out hunting for their little food problem. Oh, here's one.
Oh, we found one. You don't want to step on it. Oh, yay! Oh, they are really dark.
It's curled up, warming himself up.
Warming itself in the sun.
It's got a beautiful coconut smell to it, so if you smell it this time of year, it's got a lovely scent to it.
You can kind of smell it in the air as well.
You can, yeah.
It used to be used as dye as well, didn't it?
Yeah, so they used to use it to colour clothing, etc., and cloth. But it's got high vitamin C content in it, and that's why it's very nutritious as a plant, and that's why it's got these huge spines on it, because it knows everything wants to eat it.
Great evolutionary adaptation.
Nice, yeah. It knows it's tasty. It's got to protect itself. But because of that, it creates really, really thick, dense bushes, which is really great for your nesting birds. Yeah. Overwintering birds as well. I mean, Dartford warbler's got a almost total reliance on it to protect it for overwinter. Yeah.
And the stone chat as well likes to nest, doesn't it?
Yeah, you get your yellow hammer in it as well. Yeah. So it does. It's absolutely fantastic for our breeding birds on site. It can dominate some areas, so you do sometimes need to cut it back or control it. And really, when you're looking at gorse, when it's starting to get really leggy and tall, it loses some of that protection. And so it's at that point you might want to go in and actually cut it back to the ground and allow it to regenerate. Obviously, adders as well will hibernate under there. They'll go into the vole holes, etc., but you can actually have them down in the base of the bushes as well.
So we have a slow worm over here, and this looks like a female because it has a dark stripe going all the way down the back, whereas a male doesn't have that. And contrary to popular belief, they're not actually snakes. They are in fact legless lizards. You can see her eye. This is so cute.
So this is one of the lichens we have on the reserve, and it's quite an easy one to identify. It hangs down, and it actually can hang down for about half a metre or so, so they can be pretty substantial. It's easy to identify because it's got these kind of swollen nodes, which gives it its name, which is called stringer sausages. And you can see why. I mean, if you have a look along here,
it does, doesn't it?
And if I was to pull one of these apart, you should see there's the string inside.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow.
It goes through. If I pull it hard enough, it will snap. But
wow.
Yeah. So you know it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between
the fungi and photosynthetic algae as well.
Yeah, and cyanobacteria as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got some common Polypoddy Fern up there, and these are a really good example of an epiphyte. A really lovely fern. And epiphytes kind of grow on the surfaces of other plants.
So they're very early flowering. You can see them in January, February to kind of time they're out. So they're obviously very important for our kind of bumblebees, etc.
Yeah.
When the queens emerge after hibernating, they're a great nectar and pollen source. But they're actually, it's a ranunculaceae, so it's family, so it's a buttercup family.
Yeah. It's kind of got those reflective cells on the petals.
That's right.
Isn't
so
it?
you can see
It's
that
like with the
shiny,
buttercup.
So again, that classic. Do you like butter? Put a
yeah. And they tend to like turn white with age, these as well, don't they? As they get older, they
can start looking a bit tired.
Yeah.
This is a common dog violet.
Yeah.
So it's got that pale spur, and it's also got a notch at the back of the spur. And if you look at the sepals, which are the casings for the flower, they're pointed and they're not lobed. And apparently,
that means
that means it is a dog violet, common dog violet.
Cool. I have read before that the silver wash fritillary loves to lay their eggs on violets.
Yes, so violets are really important for silver wash fritillary and dark green fritillaries as well. All of the Helman Tor sites have pretty much been tin streamed.
Yeah.
So it was quite a basic mining technique.
Yeah.
So it's not diving in shafts into the ground and going in with your candle looking at it. It's more surface mining. But yeah, you get these tin bearing gravels which then would slowly get covered up with organic leaf litter, etc. So what they'd do, they'd identify one of these valleys, they'd then remove that top layer of soil and then redirect streams through leats, etc. across the gravels. They would then dig a big pit or a trench, and by loosening the gravels, all the waste material would be lighter than the tin gravels themselves, and so that would float off downstream, and then the gravels would then drop sooner because they're heavier, and then they would extract that, and then all the waste material they would turf out off to the side. And what that has left is a very varied topography on site. So you get this hummock and hollow, classic tin streaming. Yes. It's given rise to a whole host of different habitat types depending on the hydrology, etc. And so that's where we get our heathland community establishing. We get our acid grassland, where that heathland's grazed by grazing animals a little bit more. In the wetter areas, that's where you're getting your mire and your kind of quaking bog on the peaty kind of those sphagnum moss rafts that are going across those wet areas. I should say, in those areas that maybe haven't been grazed as much, you'll start getting woodland and scrubland forming. That's where you'll get our marsh tits or willow tits are establishing as well. So it's this real mixture of habitats, which really helps promote a whole host of different wildlife. So that's why this site is so special. It's how varied it is.
Wow. So how do you know this is the fox pea?
So generally with fox they have a twist at the end when they have it out, and the amount of fur in it as well. So it's been feeding on either small mammals or maybe even rabbits if you got lucky.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a great tip.
Back there.
Yeah, we've been hearing lots of chiff-chaffs today. They're migrant birds, aren't they?
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
come over at this time of year. We are getting more and more resident ones that do actually overwinter. But yeah, generally there's large landfalls around this time of year, so last few weeks we've had quite a few coming across. They, I think they go to sub-Saharan Africa, so they've got quite a long migration. Like that classic called chiff-chaff.
Yeah.
But they do get it wrong, so they go chaff-chiff sometimes.
Really? Oh, yeah, that was
one.
That was again, yeah. Right, so that's it for today's nature trail, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Andy, thank you for taking me on this nature trail around this reserve. It was really interesting.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we saw some really cool things. I was just saying that I've been wanting to find reptiles on nature trails, and lo and behold, we found the slow worm. But anyway, as usual, keep safe on your wild walks and keep a lookout for more nature trails to come, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!